Aries, welcome to your March 2023 astrological overview. This is for Aries Sun and Aries Rising. Aries, you have some beautiful and powerful planetary alignments in the month of March. To start off, at the very beginning of March, you have both Jupiter and Venus conjunct each other in your sign. This is a powerful day, March 1st. We'll talk more about that. And then a couple days later, you have Venus and Chiron conjunct in your sign at 14 degrees of Aries. So this is just so much opportunity for growth, for healing, and that opportunity is just further supported in the month. On March 19th, Mercury enters the sign of Aries, where Mercury is actually exalted, so the planet of communication. And then just a few days later, you have a new moon at the beginning of Aries. That's a powerful placement for a new moon. It's at 1 degree of Aries. So with all this growth and expansion and healing and communication and all these, you making the best of all these energies, and then this new moon at 1 degree of Aries, you'll be able to carry that energy with you. So I'm very excited about this forecast. We're going to do a quick but deeper dive into what this means in a moment. Sorry, it's been a long day. I just need some water. I've been in meetings all day. Excuse me. But before we get started, I would just like to share, please only use this forecast just for increased awareness as you see fit. Ensure that you are making your decisions based on your own observations, your own personal observations and practical considerations always. Okay, and also this channel is inclusive. So I believe that all religions and spiritual paths are equally important so far as they support growth and unity and love. That's really all that I care about. And so I just want people to know that, if you're watching this video, you probably believe in astrology. But whatever your belief system is, I personally am supporting that astrology. It's something that has been a part of my life for 30 years. I cast my first chart 30 years ago. I just want people to know that I support all beliefs, all religious beliefs, and that they are all of equal importance in my eyes. This is just a practice that I do. So, also, if you happen to recognize me from my therapeutic practice, please note I don't bring astrology into the therapeutic work that I do, only because they're two separate professions. That said, I am very, very excited to share this passion of astrology with you, Aries, especially because this is an awesome month for you. Okay, so as I mentioned, Venus is conjunct Jupiter at 12 degrees of Aries. So Venus is the planet of love and affection, romantic love, familiar love, family love, platonic friendships. It's the planet that supports mutual attraction. Combined with Jupiter, oh my gosh, it's going to be supportive of win-win situations. Jupiter is the planet of expansion and growth, knowledge, opportunity. It can indicate travel, not just travel, physical travel. It can be spiritual. It can be travel in the sense of learning about other cultures, maybe deepening a friendship with someone from another culture and learning more deeply about their religion, their spirituality, their traditions. So it can be expansion and travel and growth in that sense too. Jupiter is also very supportive if you're wanting to grow in your business, or wanting to increase your network. And when the sun and Venus are conjunct, but when Venus is in your first house for Aries rising, when it's conjunct your ascendant, also when it's conjunct your sun as well, it has both the effect for both of these placements. You tend to feel more outgoing. You tend to want to interact with people. Aries are generally extroverted. Not everybody, not every Aries is a stereotypical Aries because we all have so many different parts to us, but Aries is generally an extroverted sign. Well, you will feel more so. You will feel just open to interacting with people. You'll see the good in people, and people will also sense and see the good in you. So you'll just, if you want to make more connections with people in the community, you're going to be able to do that with more ease than normal. So this is a wonderful time for, if you want to expand your social circle or if you want to make connections regarding business. So when Jupiter is conjunct your sun or in your first house, conjunct your ascendant, you will you will be able to make those connections more easily. But the caveat is that you're doing it with the interest of both or all parties in mind. So the people that you are people will be willing to share resources with you or connections with you. And as long as you're accepting that with the thought of a mutual benefit, like genuinely just win-win, the benefit of all involved, you will be able to use this for so much growth, so much expansion. But that cooperation and that mutual support is what's really going to carry that very far, especially when Venus is conjunct Jupiter. You're just going to have like this double dose of positive energy. Use it wisely, use it well, use it, yes, of course, use it for your own expansion in your life and positive results in your life, but also use it for the betterment of your community and or with the people who you are working, because it will be that much more powerful. It's a beautiful transit. So I got goosebumps just even thinking about it. And so 2 days later, on Friday, March 3rd, Venus is going to be conjunct Chiron at 14 degrees of Aries. So Chiron is the planet of the wounded healer. It really represents for us in our own lives. So a place where we've had a wound and haven't been able to heal ourselves yet for some reason, maybe the insight or the ability that we developed by having to overcome that wound gave us the ability to help or heal others in that same area. So like I said, it's the wounded healer. So, nowadays with COVID, a lot of doctors and nurses, are fitting into that archetype, of the wounded healer, of all the stress that they've been dealing with, but yet they're still healing people. They're still out there, helping people. EMT workers, definitely have always been an archetype for that. Anyone who works on a crisis unit of any kind is a wounded healer, if they're there helping people. So specifically for Aries, Aries sun, so Chiron conjunct your sun is usually that there's a wound around belonging. Where do I belong? What's my identity? What's my group? This feeling of, it can even be a feeling of being in a family and belonging in a family, or, depending on how deep it goes or how strong Chiron is in your chart. But that's usually the energy Chiron tends to ping when it's transiting your sun, especially if the sun is in Aries. So something around that is having an opportunity either to be seen and to be healed. So this is actually a very beautiful time. My hope is that what this means, Venus conjunct Chiron, especially with beautiful supportive Jupiter close by, my hope is that anybody who's experiencing or has a wound like this, that the love of Venus, that Venus will just encourage so much self-love that it'll be a time where you have these miraculous insights of that you are wonderful and you're more than good enough, right? Whether you have an identity with a group or not, you are you, and that is more than is needed, right? Whether or not you fit into a group. And you make your own group, damn it, right? So hopefully there will be just some beautiful insights during this time that will be healing for anyone experiencing that type of Aries, Chiron, conjunct your sun energy. Also, just, if that's not the case, then I'm hoping there will be a corrective experience where you realize you do belong. Venus, also conjunct Aries is also conjunct your sun, is also a lot, conjunct Chiron, is also about self-love, learning to love yourself, and then that's how you heal, and then you become an even better person to be able to help and heal others. So I'm hoping that there will be a lot of insights around self-love. So Venus conjunct your rising sign, your ascendant. So our rising sign is very similar to our sun sign, except for that it's a little bit more about what's going on the earthly plane in the 3D world. I guess I think of the word like it's a little more superficial, but it's important though, because it's how you are manifesting physically in this life. Your first house, your ascendant, your rising sign determine how you manifest physically. So when Chiron is in that placement, if you're an Aries rising, there might be something about, and it also determines like how you're perceived. So there might be something about a wound or some sort of insecurity or childhood wound around your physicality or how you're perceived or how you fit in with the group, how you're perceived in a group. That's for Aries rising. And if that's a wound that you've either noticed or that's come to light, this is definitely going to be healed with Venus. Self-love, self-acceptance, knowing that you are lovable and important and perfect. Everybody is perfectly imperfect, and all we have to do is learn to love ourselves to realize that. Nobody's perfect, right? We all belong. We all play our own role. We all, contribute our own beauty and internal beauty, our own strengths, abilities, and even in our weaknesses, we are beautiful, right? Because maybe somebody else can then, get to be their best self and help us. And, how beautiful that is. So there's just going to be a lot for people with strong Aries in their chart, especially Aries sun and Aries rising, Aries Venus, Aries, if your Chiron is in Aries, it's just going to be a beautiful time. If your Chiron's in Aries, it might be a little tough, but with this beautiful Venus and Jupiter, you're definitely going to, if insecurities are being brought to light, it's going to be healed. It is possible that a relationship, with Venus conjunct Chiron, that there might be like a relationship that might unintentionally highlight this insecurity, but yet also heal it at the same time, especially with Jupiter close by. So don't be afraid of being vulnerable. As long as you love yourself, that's really all that matters going through this transit. It's just a chance for growth internal healing, and really realizing that the real healing comes from loving yourself. You know, if there are old wounds, sometimes if you don't have the benefit of having someone else that can help you, you can learn to heal yourself. Sorry, it's very emotional. And I've been working all day, and I have to take my kiddo to volleyball practice in 5 minutes, so I'm not editing this out. I'm just going to let it happen. Let's see. So while this is all happening, now Mars is still in its shadow period. So it's, you know, it did turn direct by now. Mars is also a planet of action. Mars is exalted in Aries. It is your ruler. It is the ruler of Aries. It has turned direct, but it's still in its shadow period, meaning it's still going through the area that it went through when it was retrograde. So forward action, you're seeing more clearly the plan, but the actual action, you're going to start to feel the movement more after Mars leaves the shadow period on March 15th. And then Mercury enters Aries on March 19th. So you'll have more clarity of mind. Mercury conjunct your sun, Mercury in your first house. It's just so much easier for you to communicate your objectives very clearly. You know, be mindful there might be other subjective viewpoints around you, but you're going to have an easy time communicating very assertively, very clearly. And then 2 days later, you have a new moon at 1 degree of Aries. So the progress that you're making emotionally, spiritually, by, you know, using that beautiful Venus Jupiter energy to heal any Chiron wounds. So you're going to be able to just continue to carry that beautiful energy on an emotional level with the new moon Aries. And because as humans, we are often emotion driven, you'll also maybe be able to inspire other people with that Mercury in Aries. And you'll be able to clarify if you've been using Jupiter Aries for expansion and growing connections and ideas and, you know, kind of forming some plans. With Mercury in Aries and Mars out of its shadow period, you are going to be able to really start to take some action steps towards your goals. So this is a great month. A fabulous month for you, Aries. There is a change. Pluto's been in Capricorn for 15 years, and it's moving into Aquarius on March 23rd. And actually for Aries, this is actually going to be a nice shift because there's a, with Pluto in Capricorn, that's not the best angle for Aries, but with Aquarius, especially for early Aries, so if your rising sign is between, you know, 0 to 10 degrees of Aries, or if you were born within the first 10 days of Aries, you will, Aries solar transit, you will experience this Pluto in Aquarius on a very positive level, actually, probably supporting all your other goals that you've been working on, especially if it's around business or knowledge expansion, because that's going to be a sextile. Pluto in Aquarius will be forming a sextile to your sun, especially if you're an early Aries. Sextiles support the intellectual energies of a planet. So Pluto is an intense planet, but it is the planet, it represents destruction and rebirth, but also it also represents change, positive change for the better. So, you know, your mental clarity around things, you know, that you can change for the better, you're going to be having some great ideas, I think. So that's actually a positive transit for you, Aries. So I just get so excited about all these positive energies you have. Mars, your ruler, does enter Cancer on March 25th. That's a water sign. So Cancer is like, probably one of the more sweet, emotional, sensitive water signs of the zodiac, and Mars is the planet of like aggression and action and vitality. And so you're not going to be particularly like physically charged. You're not going to get a boost of energy from that, but you have so much other positive energy floating around you this month. But just be sure, with Mars in Cancer at the end of the month, keep up whatever routine you have that supports your physical energy. It'll just be positive so that you can keep your positive mojo flowing from that beautiful new moon in Aries and having Mercury in Aries, and just having had that beautiful healing energy with Venus and Jupiter conjunct your sign. So just to summarize, Venus is in your sign from the 1st of the month until March 16th when it enters Taurus. And Jupiter is in your sign the whole month. I think it's going to be there until May. And then you do have Chiron in Aries, but you have a lot of opportunity. If Chiron in Aries is dinging any wounds or bringing light, something where you feel vulnerable, you've just got so much self-love. It's going to be, you're going to be healing it. It's just a beautiful opportunity there. And then you've got Mercury entering Aries on March 19th. Mercury is the planet of communication, so you'll feel more clarity in communicating your wonderful, bright ideas. Then you have that new moon in Aries on the 21st. And then you have a more harmonious placement as Pluto enters into Aquarius. So happy March, Aries. Next time I do an Aries forecast, I'll do it from downstairs where I have my cute little, astrology stuff. Time is of the essence today. So thank you for your patience and support, and see you next time, Aries. Bye-bye.